Panhard Dynavia 1948. The Dynavia is a concept car built by Panhard in 1948. It was built as an experiment in aerodynamics. Before the end of World War II, venerable French automaker Panhard Dynavia foresaw that post-war demand for their typically large and expensive cars would be limited and that a smaller, less expensive model would be needed. Designer Louis Billonnière began development of a small two-box voiture populaire, people's car, that would be powered by engineer Louis Delagarde's new air-cooled two-cylinder boxer engine driving the front wheels. At the same time, automotive innovator Jean-Albert Grégoire was working on a car originally called the Automobile Grégoire, ALG, later renamed Aluminium Français Grégoire, AFG, when the French National Aluminum Consortium stepped in to sponsor the project. The resulting prototype was also a small front-wheel drive car powered by an air-cooled two-cylinder boxer engine. The AFG weighed only 400 kilograms. 881.8 pounds, due to the use of alpacs to produce a unitary-style chassis and the use of aluminum for the bodywork. Grégoire showed the car to several French car makers including Simca, but none showed interest. When the Bond's plan to rationalize the French automotive industry went into effect, the company on the Avenue d'Ivry, now simply known as Panhard, was denied permission and access to materials needed to continue building cars. During this time steel was rationed, but aluminum, whose production had been increased during the war, was not. To obtain permission to build small cars under the Pons plan, Panhard obtained non-exclusive rights to the aluminum-intensive AFG strongly supported by Pons. Billonnière and Delagarde developed a new car called the VP2 that substituted a chassis of two tall narrow steel box members and cross-bracing for the AFG's alpacs unitary unit. The VP2 was a four-door four-seat car. The bodywork was still of aluminum and reflected the styling of the AFG, although neither Grégoire nor Billonnière were entirely satisfied with it. Panhard may have been pressured to make the VP2 look like the AFG, but they never acknowledged any connection between the two cars. Grégoire eventually sued Panhard for unpaid royalties. The VP2 went into production as the Panhard Dynavia. During the war, Billonnière had also pursued his interest in aerodynamics. He observed the shapes and movements of birds and fishes and built scale models of a streamlined 7-passenger car he named the VP6. In 1945, Billonnière tested a 1/5 scale model in the wind tunnel at the Institut Aérodynamique in Saint-Cyr. Following the introduction of the Dynavia, Billonnière returned to those early studies and built a concept car to explore how they might be applied to a full-sized vehicle. This car was the Panhard Dynavia. The Dynavia was built on the Dynavia chassis. Power came from Panhard's two-cylinder OHV GM600 boxer engine with a bore of 72 mm, a stroke of 75 mm and total displacement of 610 cc, 37.2 cubic inches. The engine was front-mounted and drove the front wheels through a 4-speed manual transaxle. Suspension was independent on all 4 corners. Steering was by rack and pinion. Brakes were drums front and rear. The 2-door bodywork was executed in Duralinox, an aluminum, magnesium alloy. The Dynavia's shape resulted in a drag coefficient, / script style C_/ of just 0.26. The car was designed to seat 4 people, although the narrow body and curving roofline limited passenger space. The tall greenhouse with its 2-piece windscreen and backlight offered good outward visibility. A single floodlight was mounted in the center of the nose of the car, while the headlamps were CB0 dazzle units housed in tubes in the fenders and projecting flat beams out through slots on either side of the nose. At 650 kilograms, 433.0 pounds, the Dynavia was heavier than the equivalent Dynavia. Its engine produced 28 horsepower, 20.9 kilowatts, at 4,000 revolutions per minute, which enabled the car to reach a top speed of 131 kilometers per hour, 81.4 miles per hour. This was about 18% faster than the Dynavia with the same drivetrain. The Dynavia's fuel consumption has been reported to vary from 3.5 liters/100 kilometers, 80.7 miles per gallon (amp), to 5 liters/100 kilometers, 56.5 miles per gallon imp.